perfect. I guess I could just do this, right? This one. I learned something today. If you're gonna be a content creator and have Twitch and YouTube and, you know, something that requires you to record sound, you should probably make sure it's not muted. You know, that little button over there that mutes it. You should make sure that it's not muted. So what we learned, and kind of probably what you saw there in the waiting room, is that we're going to record multiple audio sources just in case we have some type of mental breakdown again in the future. We don't waste 45 minutes, basically doing something that you're going to have to do again, kind of like I'm doing right now. So welcome back, maybe. My name is Patrick. This is the Barbell Method, and on this particular episode of Body Maintenance, we're talking about the future of fitness and tight ankles. They actually go hand in hand, believe it or not. As we've all noticed, we're moving forward into an era where a lot of us are now working from home, and a lot of us, I think, are going to continue to work from home. A lot of us are going to be spending a lot more time sitting is kind of what's up. And we've already been spending a lot more time sitting, watching our favorite shows in our recreation time, watching our favorite movies, and working. You know, a lot of us that have been working at a computer, sitting at a desk, sitting, which partly is on us, okay? And this is something that I share with everyone that I work with, that we want to reframe our mindset at work to we're going to stand. And I've shared this before, so if you've heard this and it's redundant, I apologize, but it's a good example. There are career paths where people work hard, manual labor, 14, 16 hours a day, standing and working hard. So standing and pushing buttons on a computer for 8 hours a day is no big deal. And just like them, we're going to sit for our 15-minute breaks, we're going to sit for our 30-minute lunch, and we're going to stand and work, right? That alone is going to negate and remove the part of this cycle that's causing all this tight anklage that we're suffering from, myself included. I know I've been doing a lot of things, and if you're paying attention to that intro, you yourself would have noticed. We have a small, simple, I know, transition happening. I haven't quite learned all the magic tricks, but some simple scene changes happening, stepping it up a little bit, trying to, adapt with the times, as all teachers and coaches are going to have to do. That is part of this process, a twofold. First, as a student or the person receiving the service, you need to understand that the format that's going to happen has changed and is changing. You're going to have to do a little more searching to make sure you find a coach or a teacher who's doing this well, but with the technology available and all the streaming capabilities that we can that we're seeing on the market, I would behoove any teacher or coach to adapt, consume that information, learn from these people that are doing these things. This is the future, right? And like I acknowledged it. As soon as all this started happening, it was very clear to me that I could not continue to teach people and help and share and be of service to others without this, right? Like I live in a place where, as many other places, unfortunately, and other people in my profession have experienced, and other professions as well, state and local municipalities making decisions that basically shut their places of business down. And many gyms across the country, as well as other businesses, small businesses, are gone, straight up gone, not coming back. They went out of business, which is highly unfortunate. And the ones that are still here are under such strict guidelines, they can barely operate. So someone like me, whose entire profession revolves around being of service to others and helping them improve and feel better physically and mentally, or learn something in particular, a skill set that they're wanting to invest and learn, whatever your thing is, whatever you're teaching or coaching, right? Whatever service you're providing, could be masseuse, could be chiropractic. It's the same thing, You got to learn how to adapt. Those two, I don't even know what to do for those, right? That's an extreme example. Fortunately, in my experience, as an educator or teacher, the only thing you're going to lose moving into this type of futuristic virtual training setting that we're, the person who's receiving the service or the student is concerned, is that as a coach, I can't physically touch you anymore, right? Now, as far as coaches out there, I'm not encouraging you to inappropriately touch your athletes. There is an appropriate way to have a preliminary conversation. Hey, there may be times that I feel the need to assist your learning curve through physical touch, assisted touch. And there is an appropriate way to facilitate assisted touch, right? We've had a preliminary conversation. We're in a situation where it's warranted. I'm letting the person know, hey, I'm going to touch you here so you can see what I mean. Feel this spot, right? You feel this muscle. This is the one I'm talking about. This is the one you need to squeeze. This is the position. This is the resistance. This is where the pressure, the power, whatever the reason is for the touch, let them know it's coming. And then when you facilitate it, don't do it in a creepy way, right? Don't wrap your fingers around it and get dexterity involved and squeeze and Google fondle like hammer fist, think of it like a blunt caveman option or cave prehistoric person object. I'm trying to be sensitive to people's words. Who knows? I don't want people to get offended. So I want everyone to receive the loving message that the idea is not to harass the other person who's trying to learn, but to assist their learning curve. And sometimes touch is a great way to do that. Sometimes muscles need to be touched for the person to understand what to flex. They literally have no idea. I don't know if I'm squeezing or flexing that muscle or not. So you have to kind of poke it so that it kind of wakes it up and boots it up, right? There's a proper way to do that. But aside from that, that's the only thing you're going to lose from that experience. Outside of that, everything else that you would experience from going to a gym and seeing a coach or seeing an instructor in person can be delivered over the internet. Anywhere, anytime, to any device, right? So like at this point, as frustrating as it was as a coach or as a teacher and educator as it is to make this transition into virtual space, the boundaries are limitless. It's actually a beautiful thing for both instructors and students alike, right? We're entering an age where you have access to every human on the planet. The boundaries are no longer there, right? Russia, China, Japan, Germany, whatever country, wherever you are, you got a device, you got internet, we can work together. I can help you, right? We can help each other. And all it is making sure we have the appropriate setups, the appropriate equipment to do it. And then as the person receiving or the student, like you're gonna have to decide who's doing it well, who's not doing it well. And those are the people you're gonna have to support. And if you're a coach or a teacher, you need to be consuming what all these other streamers and stuff are doing and understanding how that stuff works, what you need to acquire to copy and mimic certain things that they're doing so that you can adapt with the times and continue to be of service to the people that are seeking your help, right? And that was one of the biggest wonderful things I realized, like I'm now anyone who's seeking me anywhere, I can help now, right? Because I've got everything set up in such a way that allows me to do that. So let's be aware of that on both ends of the spectrum, whether you're teaching or you're learning. Understand things are changing. This is the way it is now. These are the things that we're going to be doing moving forward. This is the way the world's moving towards. And as a consequence, I, like many of you, are going to be sitting a heck of a lot more than we're supposed to. One of the best things we can do to counter that is to invest in a standing desk. This is something I've talked about before, something I talk about with all my people, something I have personally, and you have a couple options. A, you straight up buy a standing desk and you throw your old desk away. If you love your current desk, you can convert it into a standing desk. Or, and there's two ways to do that. I guess that's the better way to say it. You can convert it into a standing desk. One way is by buying basically a separate desk and setting it on top of your current desk, which then functions as a standing desk. The other way is to buy legs that would replace the legs on your current desk and then turn your current desk top into the standing desk itself. I have the second option. I think it's wonderful. They're about the same price. One requires a little bit of work on your end. One is pretty like plug and play. So there are options out there, but by making that simple adjustment, you're already removing what's caused the ankle tightness to begin with from the cycle of your daily operation, or at least minimized or mitigated it so that it's not continuing to make your ankles as tight as they have already. And then you're opening a door of opportunity to then actually do some of the things I'm going to show you right now are going to help you start improving your ankle stiffness, right? By mobilizing these tissues and evacuating some of the junk and getting new nutrition in there and pushing some boundaries and discovering some resistances. We're going to show you how to do that. You've already removed the thing that caused it, and now you're improving it, and then you'll be able to do these things with the new standing desk. So moving forward, you've removed what's causing it, and you've implemented an adjustment so that while you're getting paid at work, or even in your leisure, sitting down and relaxing, I'll show you that too, you can be doing these things and improving your mobility while you're getting paid, right? In this way, we synergize these two polarities of our life and maximize every minute, right? That makes us more efficient, gives us more free time to do with whatever we choose, which time is literally the most valuable resource on the planet, regardless of what anyone tells you. Within the construct, they'll have you convinced that this or that's the most monetary, time. Time is the most valuable because you have a finite amount, period. From the moment you're born, you are going to inevitably experience a physical body death, right? It's going to stop functioning at some point. That's a reality. It's true. It's all going to happen to us, all of us, which means that little bit of time we have is super valuable, and how we choose to use it and who we choose to share it with is super valuable. Keep that in mind the next time someone's inviting you to come hang out. Like, holy crap, this person's offering to share their most precious resource with me. It puts a whole new perspective on it. And you can, on the same token, just people that make the time to talk to you or make the time to just be with you or whatever. It puts a whole new perspective on that for you, right? So let's keep all this stuff in mind as we're moving forward. We all got to adjust. We all got to understand this is a new thing that we're getting into. And it's going to be better for everybody long term is what it comes down to. So today, we're also talking about tight ankles, right? That the business that's coming along with all this sitting down, watching the shows and working on the computer, which hopefully we're going to fix by getting a standing desk. But on to the improving of the stiffness situation. we should call it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to roll the arch of our foot, which, whether you're sitting down or you're standing, if you have yourself a lacrosse ball, you can be doing this all the time, right? At the standing desk. I like to do it standing more than sitting, but sitting works just as well. And actually it has kind of you can kind of get into some different angles and spots when you're sitting. There's something about kind of fully getting the tension off your body that allows you to kind of maneuver in a different way. So I would encourage you to explore both, work them both in. But the reality of it is that your feet basically work all day long. In the 14 to 16 hours, they're 24 hours, well, not 24 hours, I'm sure we're sleeping at some point, but for the waking hours, right? They're like the primary thing that's moving you around, keeping your little hop along self cruising from the couch to the refrigerator, right? Like, they do so much work. And what do you do for them? Ever. Hey, let me give you a beer, bro. Let me rub your shoulders. You don't do anything for your feet. Nobody does, right? Or your calves. And both of them are high traffic tissues. They do a ton of work for you, and you don't give them any love. So lacrosse ball is investment number one. It's like $7. You can get it on Amazon while you're standing and or sitting. We can do the same thing. Objectively, we're going to just kind of get the ball in the arch of the foot, and we're going to explore areas of tension. And you're going to know when you find them, because it's not going to feel too amazing. And we're going to spend time there. We're going to compress them. We're going to move across them. We're gonna contract and relax on them. We're gonna try to pin it and pull the tissues back and forth by opening and closing the foot a little bit. I'm gonna show you all these things. But the objective, or the point is that the compression of soft tissue shouldn't generate pain. So if you're exploring and you find something that's kind of painful, now be smart, right? If there's ever like a real sharp pain or an intense burning, like someone poking you with a needle or an intense burning, that's indicative of a tear of some. So I get like an overstretch. I'm going too far, right? Back off. Be smart. Be reasonable. We all. No one knows our body better than we do. So be safe. If it doesn't feel right, back off. But basically explore for that tension. When you find it, when they find that spot that kind of hurts, you're gonna go, oh God, there it is, right? We're gonna spend time there hunting around. And it's gonna look something like this. So as we were talking about earlier, check this out. All right. So swivel this baby around. All right. So you got your lacrosse ball, and whether you're sitting at a desk or you're standing at a desk, it's the same rigmarole, right? I'm gonna actually spin this round. The last time I was recording, I had it facing the other way because I thought, well, it makes more sense for me to, but I found actually kind of needed it to be this way. So we're going to go ahead and make that adjustment. But we're going to do this, right? So it's on the floor, and we're just getting our foot on it. We're hunting around, we're rolling, we're kind of exploring. I might kind of say, oh, right there's a spot, and then I'll close my foot, and I'll open my foot, and you can see that, and I close it, and I open it, and I've pinned the point of tension, and I'm opening and closing, and I'm pulling that tension, or pulling that tissue back and forth across the ball, right? Whatever I'm using to pin it, right? You're just working your feet 2 minutes each side. Obviously, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, better, right? But 2 minutes minimum, right? Just kind of working it, right? The objective here isn't to find a spot and go, oh, right there, oh my God, it hurts, and just stop moving, right? We're trying to work through it, right? The whole thing is that they're all systems that are interlinked and chained together. So you kind of want to hit both sides of the complex, right? Upstream, downstream, above, below, front to back. Think opposites, opposing, right? Polarity, get the other side of it, right? So keep moving around, find the spots, focus in on the areas that are tight, and then implement what we talked about. We're mobilizing the arch of the foot, and then we're rolling the shin was the next thing. And oh, by the way, I guess we should talk about this disclaimer. So it was brought to my attention that I had previously suggested in a stream that you could, as an alternative to a foam roller, use some form of glass. So I think specifically I referred to a wine bottle and a beer bottle, whiskey bottle, some liquor bottle, some bottle, a glass bottle that obviously if it's glass it can break, and if it breaks it could cut people, and if people get cut it's bad, and if it's bad they're going to say, well, this guy on the internet told me that I use it. So my official recommendation is that you get yourself a foam roller. We're going to retract that statement just because it makes sense. Yeah, I mean it's not the safest thing for people to be doing. So the official recommendation from Barbell Method is to purchase a legit foam roller. I recommend either the dense black foam runs off of Amazon. I think they're like $34 or something. Or if you are one of those individuals who tends to have really tight muscles where, you're the person that's at the masseuse and you're like, please, harder, harder. You're that person. I would suggest instead of the black dense foam roller from Amazon, go to Menards, Home Depot, whatever your local hardware store is, and get yourself like a 24-inch piece of 3-inch PVC. It's just a hard plastic pipe. I mean, basically, it's just like, PVC. Whoop. Knock everything down. Right? Plastic, but it'll be this is 3/4 inch, right? You want to get yourself a 3-inch. That'll be a little more aggressive for you. It'll allow you to kind of get down in those lower layers of muscle tissue a little quicker, as it is harder, and you obviously have a little bit higher state of hypertension going on. So it's going to take some time for you to get past that initial relaxation as you kind of get the muscle to relax and release, and as you get deeper on it. So PVC for you individuals. The rest of you, just fine. Most people are pretty good with the, if you don't know which one you are, get the foam one, okay? The people who need the plastic one, you know who you are. When I was describing that, you literally, oh yeah, that's me. I'm sure you sounded way cooler than that, but you know exactly what it was. So next thing we're doing, we're going to roll the shin, and we're going to roll specifically from the knee all the way down to the ankle, okay? And there's a muscle that runs along there, and the objective here is to kind of like we're rolling dough. We're going to compress it, and we're going to keep it compressed as we roll it from kneecap to ankle and ankle back to knee. And to do that, we're going to put our knee on the foam roller, and then we're going to lay down on our quad muscle. And we're going to try to get all of our weight laying on our leg and then compressing that shin muscle into the roller. And then we're going to use our hands, and we're going to kind of push and pull on the floor. And that's what's going to create the movement that you're going to see as we roll from knee to ankle, ankle to knee. That movement's not coming from anywhere else. It's coming from your hands. You want to keep the rest of your body locked down in that position of laying on the quad and on top of the roller. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. That a little closer. Now, I've got, as a learning from the last stream that got completely white because of my audio mistake, I have my other thing, I have my phone like hanging in my pocket here, so try to disregard that getting in the way. But we're going to roll shin, the muscle on our shin. Get our knee on the roller, and then as I explained, you're going to lay your body onto your leg, right? And I'm going to try to get all my weight onto here. And then we're going to use our hands, right? So all my weight's on my leg. We're going to use our hands to push and pull, and this is where the movement's coming from, right? Here, I'm pulling, then I'm pushing from the knee all the way down to the ankle,
from the ankle all the way back up to the knee. And I'm going to hit this 5 times each leg, maybe more, right? But it's 5 to 10, be pretty good. Keeping all of our weight laying on the leg and keeping that pressed down into the roller. Hit both sides, boom. Same thing, all my weight's laying on the leg. I'm using my hands to push and pull on the floor. From the ankle all the way to the knee, from the knee all the way to the ankle. Those first 2 moves are mobilizing the tissues, preparing them to kind of receive what we're going to move into with a little less resistance. It's inducing blood flow, getting some fresh nutrition in there. It's promoting the evacuation of the junk that was kind of binding us up. The next thing we're going to roll into here is the ankle stretch. This one is 2 minutes of exploratory focused stretching, right? So the focus is going to be on getting the center of our gravity over the tops of our ankles, because that's the primary stretch. But we're going to explore through movement what other positions of resistance we can discover. And after we find those positions, we're going to play around with them in a couple different ways. And these different ways that you choose are entirely up to you. There's a few that I prefer, but they all work in their own little way. And for you, you may find one that just resonates and works better for you now. And then down the road, you may find yourself liking another variation later, right? So wherever you are in the process, find one that works for you and explore it. But the point here is that we're not just going down the pain cave and be like, oh my God, it hurts so bad. How much time? How much time? How much longer? Right? Because we're going to sit in this position for 2 minutes. And the more you can just let go, like set a timer, right? So I usually set it for like 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Give me 15 seconds to get into position. And then I just forget about it and just breathe and work and move around, right? But the objective is to try to, how many systems can I tie into this single movement, right? You're going to notice this common theme, synergizing polarities in the life, bringing as many things together as we can to move forward, right? To make progress, to go the way we want to go, get everything to agree, right? Disagreeing is resistance, right? So we're trying to get everything to understand and work together and understand we're all linked, we're all one, we're all working together, even though this one particular site is congested or under construction or inflamed or in pain or whatever it is. A lot of times it's the connecting structures that need the TLC to fix the problem. You know, you got to fix the whole system. It's not an issue of just going to that one spot and going bing and waving your magic wand and it all vanishing temporarily, right? Because these other 2 things didn't get fixed out. That gets broke again, right? Or gets tight again, or inflamed again, or painful again, or whatever it is, right? So the primary objective is to keep the weight over the ankle. The top of the ankle is what we're stretching, but we're going to try to tie in some oblique, arm, bicep, chest, neck, anything we can find. Chest and neck tends to be a really good one for this. The lats work really well too. There are some other stretches that you can kind of blend lat work into so that you can spend a little extra time in this particular stretch getting chest, scalene, neck. I find that a lot of people who are tight ankle desk warriors also have really tight scalenes and chest muscles. They tend to, we tend to be like this at the computer all day, right? So what I'm about to show you is going to help you work that out. There are a few methods. You can pulse, find the end range of resistance and kind of push on it and back off, pulsing in and out of that end range. You can obviously sit there and hold it for a straight 2 minutes and just keep focusing on, flexing it as hard as you can, relaxing and going deeper. Flexing it as hard as you can, contract, relax, contract, relax, go deeper, contract, relax, go deeper, contract, relax, go deeper. You can do that working for 2 minutes. I like to do breath work. So I'll get into the end range and then I'll take a deep breath and I'll hold it and I'll work and I'll work and I'll work and I'll find something that's really, really tight and I'm like, oh, there it is. And then I'll breathe it all the way out. Push as deep into that stretch as I can and then hold it on the other end. Try to hold my exhale as long as I can. And then it's going to be in through the nose. As soon as I'm like, I can't hold this any longer. Oh my God. I'll breathe in, big breath in. I back off the stretch. And then I push, I get to the top. I hold it and I push and I hunt and I hunt and I hunt. I'm holding and I'm holding and I'm holding. I find it. There's the tight spot. Exhale. Relax, release, let go as deep into that stretch as you can. Deep into that resistance. Let the resistance go. And then again, at the end of that exhale, I'm holding at the end of the exhale. And so I do this like 3 breaths in a row. And then I just kind of chill. And then I work the next 2 minutes kind of however. But I get 3 pretty intense like rounds connected to the breath. I find that really like that expansion of the internal cavity really helps you figure out where your system's tightest. And then once you figured out what position that is, exhale and let it all out and just breathe into it, relax into it, right? You'll be shocked how you'll find like a spot, like that's as far as I go, and you'll exhale and you'll go like 2 or 3 inches, right? So I'm going to show you what some of these positions are, and just know I have many options on how I want to explore this. None of them are really just like chill and do nothing. Like push the boundary back off, push the boundary back off. It's much more beneficial, okay? I'm gonna take a quick swig of caffeine. And we're gonna do another. Sorry, I don't work my biceps. So, top of the ankles is the primary stretch, right? So here we go. There are 2 different methods here. The one we're going to work on today is everything together, but there is a yoga variation, and yogis, if you know the answer, I don't know what this one's called, but I know that they go a little wider and the hips kind of drop down between the ankles and legs. So my butt bones, my butt muscles aren't coming down on top of my ankles, I'm coming down in between them. And that's a slightly different stretch on the system than what we're working on here. We're going to go knees together, ankles together, and I'm going to sit my butt on top of my heels and try to keep my weight in that position, right? Boom. Okay. So I'm trying to keep myself in good postural alignment, right? Neutral spine. I'm standing up straight. My chin's retracted. I'm not hunched forward, right? My shoulders are externally rotated. Chin's back. I'm sitting up good. And then I start to explore, right? What does left to right feel like, right? Put a support hand down and maintain this. Don't do any leaning where we bring the butt or hip with us and we pull the weight off of the exterior ankle that's being stretched. Keep this primary stretch, right? Find a way to keep your weight here as we move. Otherwise, don't go that as far. Whatever, if it's going far enough to pull you out, that's too far, right? Left to right, right? Support hand down and kind of just like lateral up and over the head. You can twist and you'll feel a big stretch all the way down through the lat. I can feel it even down into my obliques, all the way to my hip, right? We can just, we could sit here and do this for 2 minutes, just side to side, right? I could add, we can go back on a diagonal and do the same thing. Boom, up here, right? And then we can rotate around, right? Come back to neutral, back here, back to neutral, back here, right? Just walking your hands straight back. This is a really good one. This one I recommend for most people. I try to get my palms flat on the floor, and I'm really trying to get like full extension in the elbow, right? So you can get a stretch from your ear, down your neck, through your scalenes, across your chest, into your shoulder, down your bicep, all just by getting your hands flat here, right? So I keep my weight centered over the ankles, we're walking it back. I'm externally rotating in the shoulders. I can internal rotate one and external the other, and then switch that, internal, external. I can go both internal, both external, and I'm just getting that stretch, right? Keeping my butt relatively tight, keeping some tension there so I protect my low back, right? Keeping everything pinched together. Working on the breaths, if you want to do the breaths, pulsing, moving around, rotating, right? 2 minutes, obviously, 3, 4, 5, 6, better, right? But 2 minutes minimum. We work these positions. As we're coming out of that, we spend a lot of time in extension of the ankle. So I like to come out into a position that allows us to stretch the Achilles tendon and the calf in a way that kind of lets them relax after being kind of compressed and compacted for that duration of whatever we just did. So to do that, you put your hands on the ground in front of you, we come forward, and we pick the toes up and curl them underneath, right? So I was here, I come forward, pick my toes up, curl them underneath, and then I'm just gonna kind of walk back until I feel my weight kind of pick my front knees up off the floor, and I'm not quite sitting my heels down, right? There's still, a gap here, and I'm letting all my weight fall backwards into my heel, and I'm feeling a big stretch coming from, underneath my foot here, around the heel, up this back side of my Achilles tendon into my calf, and I'm just kind of letting that relax in, and I'm keeping my legs kind of here, right? I'm not way out. We're keeping it lined up like this, just kind of pedaling that out a little bit, letting our calves relax on their own. From there, we come into an assisted stretch. We're going to use either a yoga block, or if you got one of those, you can use a kettlebell. You can use lots of stuff. You can use a wall. If you have like a doorway where you can kind of step through it or step past it, same concept, right? The idea is to get some internal rotation and try to pin that top pad of the foot and ankle in a way where as we walk the off supporting foot forward, we can enhance that stretch. Part of doing this is ensuring that we are in full hip extension prior to doing the walk forward, right? I'm going to show you what that looks like. So first and foremost, it's internal would be toward the midline, right? So that's the position I'm looking for. Internal, right? Get myself set up. And then what I was talking about is this, right? So if you have yourself set up where you're kind of doing like your butt's way back like this is a closed hip, right? My hips are closed, right? Thinking about my hip moving like this. Here we go. Right? Open, closed. This is a closed hip. So we want to kind of squeeze our butt, driving our hip forward and extend our hip. Now that's not keeping a closed hip and then trying to like arch your back and lean back. That's different. Keep your chest down by flexing your stomach. Flex your stomach, ribs down, and then squeeze your butt to get your hips underneath you. Now walk yourself forward with an extended hip. And you can already see there right by the top of my calf how wound up that is, right? In that position, we're kind of working that one a little more of a static, 2 minutes each. Whatever that is for you. I mean, if you get yourself where you're kind of like you have to walk it and then back off and then walk it and then back off, or you're kind of in a spot where you're kind of like pushing in and out of it, right? That's okay. That's that kind of pulsing at the end of the resistance range. But explore, 2 minutes each, work it out, right? From here, I like to go into a detracted ankle mobilization, or a weighted. We do like a weighted stretch before we do that, with some detraction attached to it. I don't have the ability to show you that here because I don't have a way with my current setup to have on camera to hook up a band and demonstrate this. So we're gonna have to use our imaginations, okay? So I have a thing here It's not really a band. I'm not actually going to use it. We're pretending, right? But to convey the concept of how you would apply it if you were at the gym or in a place where you could hook up a band in a safe way where nothing's going to get knocked down, nothing's getting pulled over, right? Nothing's going to get broke, no one's going to get injured, okay? Be smart. If you can't set this stuff up in a safe way, don't do it. We're pretending over here I'm going to use the radiator. I'm not suggesting you use a radiator or implying that it's safe to use. We're pretending. Okay? So the concept and the idea is that I'm going to get some detraction on the ankle joint, which is going to allow us to do some gapping while we influence the ankle bone to move out of the way when the ankle is being demanded to, an extreme flexion-based position, right? So get out of the way so we can do a flexion movement while detracting to assist creating more space in that kind of ankle cavity complex for that maneuver to occur, right? That's the concept we're going for. So we need a band to do this, and we would need somewhere to hook it up to. Then imagine yourself kind of hooking the band on your leg like this, and you're going to kind of walk it forward until you get like tension. You're like, okay, that's like, I can't walk it forward anymore. Bam, we got the tension we need. From here, we get ourselves a kettlebell or a dumbbell or something with some weight on it, or you could just use your hand and your own weight, right? So I'm here. We got ourselves on the detraction, right? You're going to take the weight that you have and you're going to put it up here, and your objective is to try to drive the knee as far forward as you can while keeping your heel down, okay? We're going to combine the Spider-Man lunge with this so that I can get a stretch down my opposing hip, right? So to do that, once I've decided that's as far as I can go with the band, I'm going to get down, and then I'm going to scoot this leg nice and far back. You see how that knee is just going back? Just to add that stretch, and then I'm coming over here with the weight, and I'm just waiting here. Now I'm getting a huge stretch through my hip, down my inner groin on my down leg, my left leg in this example, and my right leg, where the band and the weight is, I'm working this back side of my ankle, getting a huge stretch, right? I can remove the weight and simply push out on my leg and kind of wiggle it real good, and I'm kind of driving it down over my toes, but I'm making sure I keep my heel down, right? And all the while, we're getting the detraction from the band, creating more space while we try to mobilize it in that forward position like it's supposed to. From there, we're going to move into just hooking the ankle with our fingers, and we're going to kind of pull it back as we mimic driving the knee in and out, or driving the knee out over the toes to mimic moving in and out of flexion in the ankle, right? As you would achieving the full depth of your squat, right? If I was doing this, right? Boom, all the way down, that's your knee going forward, right? Boom. So you're here, you're gonna hook your ankles, boom, boom, and then you're just gonna drive the knee forward. We can do the same thing, shoot that other leg back, hook the ankle, and then as you drive forward, pull back on the ankle bones, boom, wiggle it and work it, back off, get a better grip, pull on them and drive forward, work it back and forth, back off, hook them, pull on them and drive forward. And you're just trying to influence moving, getting those bones to move as the ankle moves into flexion, right? We've done all that through mobilizing the tissues in the arch, mobilizing the tissues on the front of the shin, mobilizing the tissues in the calf. All three combined kind of create that ankle stiffness complex that we're all suffering from, right? So the beauty is, if we can get the standing desk, we remove what's causing it. Beautiful. We can mitigate how much we sit outside of that. We open a door. that allows us to work on these things, which are super easy, while we're getting paid, right? Simply by making a one-time investment and getting ourselves a standing desk. Then we now possess the knowledge to, in this very moment and moving forward, start making improvements to that ankle mobility, right? That's all I got for you. I know this ends up being pretty short. Turns out once you film it once, the next go around seems to be a little shorter and more concise. So I was able to get my thoughts formulated a little quicker and the words are flowing a little better. So I'm not really sure how long this current stream has gone. Does it tell me? Oh, it looks like we're about 49 minutes. But I have also tried to demonstrate a couple of things. So I'm going to flip back to a camera and I'm going to keep talking. I want to practice this so I can check it as I shut it off. But I appreciate you very much for stopping by. We're going to flip a screen and I'm going to keep talking to test my audio as this scene transitions to make sure that once it gets to here that there was no disruption. You continued to hear me speak and oh my goodness, I think Spotify's been going this entire time. I certainly hope that that hasn't drowned out the entire stream with super loud music. As a matter of fact, let's back it down a smidge and confirm. Well, let's confirm that I can turn it off and that the stream shouldn't be hearing any music. And now it's back. And it might be too loud. We'll back it down a little. And then I'm going to continue talking. Again, as I transfer back to this last scene, we're still talking to check to see if the audio continued to work through as you came back to here on the other end. Well, that's all I've got for you today. That was episode 3 of Body Maintenance from Barbell Method as we discussed the future of fitness and tight ankles. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you next time. Ooh, goodness gracious. I need some water. Water. Alright, so that's wrapping up. Now, hopefully, so that's good. Let's go to Twitch. Oh, I forgot to change the name of the stream. Can I do it now? Title. Future of fitness.
Oh, shoot. And I forgot to sync the audio. No. No. Shit.